Hello. Yeah. I know it's been a minute. I'm not back. I'm still on my hiatus, but I decided to get on camera to just talk about this real quick. Because I have been conflicted. I'm frustrated. And honestly, I can't stop talking about this to myself, to my wife, to my friends on social media. So I say I might as well try to get a video out of it. So a few months ago, back in April, literally the day after Dreamville, I decided to make a video called the J. Cole, basically saying the J. Cole disappointed me with the apology. I didn't look it up. I haven't watched it. I don't know. I haven't watched it since I put it out. And in that video, I was very harsh. I was quick to respond, and I eventually walked back a lot of what I said because especially after the smoke had cleared and we saw what the battle became between Drake and Kendrick, I walked a lot of that back. I completely get it. I completely understand why you didn't want to participate in the battle. I was just speaking on my original video. I was just speaking as a fan, and I wanted to see, the best rap, but realizing that it wasn't just going to be about bars by the end of it. I completely understand why you dropped out, why Cole dropped out. And I think a lot of people did too. I think a lot of people said he made the right move. There were a lot of people saying you were the smartest man in this whole situation. You walked away with no scars, no bruising, maybe a little dent on your GOAT status, your rapper card. But, people overall wasn't really like coming at Cole like they were at the beginning when you decided to apologize. And in the month since, Cole has been doing exactly what he needed to do. He's been on this amazing feature run, songs with T Grizzly, ASAP Rocky, Tim's, even the Cash Cobain song, which is terrible, but it's so like funny that I unironically be walking around the house going, grippy. Like it's funny. I don't care what nobody say, what the purists say. I listen to that song because it's hilarious to me. I just would have never thought to put Cole on a track like this. And it was extra funny because this is like the first thing we hear from you after the beef. So it was just funny. But yeah, like Cole was doing exactly what he needed to do after that. Didn't talk about the beef, just went on a feature run, building anticipation for the fall off. And over time, at least in my mind, a lot of people's minds, I don't even really associate Cole with the beef no more. Outside of him leaving. He dipped out. He apologized to Kendrick. He kept it pushing, went back to business, found his peace, back on his path, and getting ready to drop the fall off at some point. So to my surprise, like I said, I'm not connecting Cole to this beef no more. Like in some aspects, it's impossible, right? His big three line was the main line in Kendrick's Like That verse that a lot of people automatically said, oh, it's about to go down. He referenced Cole's line, and they will forever be linked as the big three. So in a lot of ways, it's impossible to completely dismiss Cole as a participant in this beef. And he did fire a shot, even if he took it back. He fired a shot. Keep that in mind because that's going to come back later. But for the most part, I'm not really associating him with this beef. The conversation when it comes to the beef has been for months Drake and Kendrick. Drake is seemingly struggling because it doesn't seem like he can get a track to really like make a real significant splash on the Billboard charts. And Kendrick's Not Like Us is still in like the top 10 last time I checked on the Billboard Hot 100. And he's going to perform at the Super Bowl and more than likely is going to play Not Like Us to like the biggest television audience of the year. But nobody's really thinking about Cole in this conversation anymore. So it was really surprising to, I'm literally about to go to bed. Like I was up, like cleaning up a little bit, listening to some music, was about to like find some easy listening music to put on TV and put the timer on for it to cut off and then just go to sleep. And as I'm looking for some easy listening music, I see a new J. Cole track drops on a random Wednesday, I think. And of course I gotta stay up and listen to it. Now I'm half asleep, not really listening to it, but I noticed that he's talking about the beef. He's talking about the whole thing with Kendrick and Drake and why he stepped away. And I went to bed just thinking, why? Why now? Why are you even bringing this back up? Now, to get the good out of the way before I really talk about my frustrations with this song, the beat is amazing, of course. Like, you never go wrong with the Dead President sample. It's like the Human Nature by Michael Jackson. You sample that, it's automatically a great song. It's really hard to mess that up. Same thing with the Dead President's sample. So the beat itself, already 10 out of 10, no complaints. Technically speaking, rapping wise, is amazing as well. I mean, the first verse, I love it. I still listen to the first verse. And how not only is the bars there, but the way it connects to, with his experience and how that led up to not only his decision to walk away from the beef, but why he has this connection to Drake the way he does. It can kind of sympathize with some of the things that, was being basically dragged on the internet during this whole beef, the whole biracial aspect of things. They have similar experiences because of that. So I liked that aspect of it. And even some of the second verse, it's not like I completely disagree with what he's talking about. So I don't want to seem like I completely hate the song. I don't want to seem like I completely dismiss the song. There's nothing redeemable about it. I'm not saying that. On a technical level, some of the substance in it and the beat, of course, I rock with. It's just when you get into the parts about the beef and his rationale about walking away is where I have a problem with what he's talking about. And there's like three main points that really frustrate me. Like I said, the main thought I had going to bed after the first listen was why? Why is this coming out? And now the cynical part of my brain that I'm trying to shut off, but the cynical part of my brain is that this is just a very transparent way to drum up hype for the fall off. This is just to get the conversation back on J. Cole. Because like I said, people have been praising you the last few months for your feature run, even comparing it to the Lil Wayne feature run from back in the day. People are excited about the fall off. They are not even associating with you with the walking away from the beef and the beef itself. They're not even really thinking about that no more. So the idea that you would bring this back up now to get people talking seems a little weird unless it's just to build up anticipation. I feel like the fall off is probably going to drop in like the next month or so, the way that the song kind of came out. I really hope it's not on the album, first of all. Please do not put this on the album. Because I don't want to hear anything associated with J. Cole and this beef ever again after this song. So just want to put that out there. Please, as dope as this song could have been, please do not put this on the fall off. I'm begging you. But yeah, this is just a transparent way to build up hype. And regardless of, how, down to earth or anti-industry some of these artists come off, they're all artists at the end of the day. We're all trying to sell something. We're all trying to get as much eyes on our product, release, music, whatever. We're all trying to do that. So I'm not faulting him for it. But it's the emotional manipulation underneath that makes it feel so ugh to me. That's just the only way I could probably. It's just, all right, man. We know you got to bring up, you got to build up hype for the album and stuff. Bringing this up, and especially because he got lines he stepped away because all these people just care about his clicks and views and whatever. You say that, but this is a transparent way of trying to get clicks and views because you're bringing back up a conversation. To be completely honest, the biggest thing that you could pull out and get people talking like this, outside of it just being, oh, it's a new track, it's the first single from the Fall Off, is to bring up this beef. So the same beef, you're kind of like chastising people for trying to take advantage of for viewer counts and likes and, to make money off of. The same thing you're kind of chastising people about, you're basically using that same beef to generate hype and get views and get clicks and have the conversation on you. So it feels a little hypocritical in that aspect. So that already frustrates me. But to bring it back to the song itself and the lyrics in it that really bother me, I really hate the idea that you're blaming this on the fans. Like the fans want blood. No, we don't. It makes me think you don't even know your fans. You don't know your fan base. Because anybody that has been a fan of J. Cole, anybody that's been a fan of Kendrick, and anybody that's been a fan of Drake, nobody would have heard your catalog over the decade plus that you guys have been on this run. And to think this beef is going to turn into 50 and Ja. This beef is going to turn into Pac and Big. This beef is going to turn into Gucci and Jeezy. Nobody is thinking that. That is a real J. Cole fan. There's a real Kendrick or even a Drake fan. Nobody is thinking that. One of the most exciting things about the prospect of any combination of you guys or all three of you guys going at it was the idea that it wouldn't turn into anything other than a competition to see who was the better rapper when put in the arena. That was one of the most exciting things about it. So the idea that at the time when you decided to duck out, because we didn't know it was going to turn into one side calling the other a pedophile and the other guy going back saying, well, you're an abuser. Nobody really thought that that was going to be what it was going to turn into, like before all of that happened, like before push-ups, before Family Matters, before 616 in LA, before Not Like Us. Nobody thought that. So the idea that the fans wanted blood is just so insulting, and especially because in your apology, you took accountability for being gassed up, for falling for peer pressure and realizing that wasn't you. And I really respected that. So to now turn around and try to point the finger at the fans like we did it. First of all, you acting like you didn't drop 7 minutes and 7-minute drill. You act like you didn't put that song out. You made it sound like you didn't shoot your gun. You didn't fire a shot. I didn't like that. That was another like sentiment in this track that I thought was very disingenuous, because you did shoot a shot. You did fire back after like that. So to act like you didn't just because you deleted it, that's very disingenuous. But to act like it was the fans, especially because you're also in this song bigging up Drake, telling him how much you love him. That's your brother. Now there's no problem with that. But to blame the fans like we wanted blood, but not holding your friend to the fire when he was the one that escalated it to this point. I went back and listened to Like That. Other than some metaphorical, kill you bars, like all your dolls getting buried, other than like some metaphorical stuff that could just be interpreted as rapping, like you yourself, Jermaine, do. There was nothing in there that was like too personal, too gossipy, too nothing. It wasn't until Drake said, I be with bodyguards like Whitney on push-ups, where a lot of people, including myself, feel like things got a little out of hand. And that was after you stepped out of the battle. But you never hold his feet to the fire. One of the things I was thinking about with this track was how it reminded me of one of your other tracks, False Prophets, and how this song was a missed opportunity. Because in that song, not only are you, getting at Kanye for how he was moving, but you also had bars for Wale, your other brother. And I liked your approach on that song, because it was like, hey, I love you, but you need to stop, focusing on this other bullshit and focus on what we're doing now, like the blessing we have to be in the positions we are. I thought that was a really dope and mature way to have that brotherly talk with your friend, but also like hold him accountable. And I just felt like because you felt so strongly about the beef and you felt so strongly about the blood and the mudslinging, and these are your brothers. I just felt like that was a missed opportunity. I'm not a person to tell people how to make their art, but if you want me and the audience to believe that you really care about, keeping the peace between the three of y'all, I feel like Cole should be a mediator in this situation and should hold Kendrick and Drake accountable if you felt like things got too far because of the fans, because of pressure and stuff like that, because they fell for something that you was able to catch early on and step away from. Even if you hadn't have conversations with them, why not put it in the song like you are, reaching out to Drake and telling them how much you love them, and still tell them they love them, but like hold them accountable. I'm not saying that, you can't show them love, but like this idea that the fans' fault is frustrating me. And another thing is that we're bringing this conversation back up, and it's not a Cole thing, but it's the fans thing. Like the idea that like competition in hip hop is looked at as immature. Like I've seen a couple people bring this point back up, like they pointed it out when you first apologize and go, hip hop has a maturity problem. The idea that battling in hip hop is somehow immature. That frustrates me not only as a J. Cole fan, not only as a MC myself, but it also frustrates me as a hip hop fan. Like, if you're a real student of hip hop, you know that is in the DNA of what this culture is about, of being an MC. You don't have to participate, but that's where the whole braggadocio comes from. The whole wanting to be the best comes from. That isn't in our lexicon if battling wasn't introduced to hip hop. On the other hand, we can say that hip hop has a problem. But on the other hand, we want to try to pit each other, like pit MCs against each other, try to figure out, well, this person's the best because of this and that. Well, this one got the better bars and the better music. This person sells the most records. Those conversations do not exist without the competitive spirit in hip hop being there in the first place. It's immature because we want to battle. And let's face it, there's a lot of other things that are very immature in hip hop that need to be called out, that don't really get called out, or not in the same way. Like this idea that we're talking about mental health and stuff like that. We have rappers talking about killing each other every day, bro. We have a lot of low vibration, low frequency music that gets played on the radio every day, and people will defend to the end of the earth as is people just being fun, or just having fun, as people just being themselves. People will defend that to the end of the earth. But because I have a problem with a rapper ducking a fade in a rap battle, all of a sudden I'm the immature one. Song like that, and people love it, but then turn around and when it's time to battle and you talk about being the best all the time, that all of a sudden we're immature. Maybe people were a little harsh response to the apology. After the apology, some people could still look at you as one of the best MCs or the best MC. But the idea that hip hop itself is immature because we have a competitive spirit is bullshit. And that really frustrates me. And that's one of the reasons why I was so frustrated at this song, that I thought I worked out. And I feel like in terms of the apology was handled so much better because there was a sense of accountability there. Greenville stage, you said, I fell for the peer pressure. I let other people gas me up, and I let people get me out of who I really am. I lost my way. I'm going to get back on my path. That's what you said on that stage in on Dreamville. Much as it was a disappointment to hear that Cole was going to drop out of the battle, after a while, people understood. That was a you thing, a you decision. You didn't have it in your heart and you bowed out. But to then turn around and try to point the finger at everybody else, it just kind of undoes a lot of that. So just like you took back 7 Minute Drill, I feel like I could take back the apology that I gave you after my first video, because we're kind of back to square one. And just one other thing, I'ma still listen to Cole. I'ma still support the Fall Off when it drops. Being from Fayetteville, being from North Carolina, being an MC from the state, from the city, I'ma always support Cole. I'ma always be a fan. But in bars, where, hey, maybe people took I wouldn't have lost a brother. I mean, I wouldn't have lost the battle. I would have lost the brother line. They taking that stuff out of context because it was a part of a conversation. But the idea of 1 minute you above this, in another minute you just want to let everybody know that you still like a killer on the mic. I don't want to hear that. I'm done with that. Like I have not listened to the off season. I have not listened to certain J. Cole tracks like Stick because it's really hard for me to take those bars seriously after that. Even with me understanding why you jumped out of the battle, it's still hard. So the idea that you're talking about the battle in a sense of like you were just afraid of the damage you would have done. I don't want to hear about somebody that ducked the fade talking about what kind of damage they could have did if they would have stayed in the fight. Because we'll never know. You decided to walk away, and that was your decision, and it was what felt right in your heart. But knock it off. I don't want to hear any more about what could have happened, what you could have did if you stayed in it, because you didn't stay in it. Be peaceful, Cole. I'm more of a fan of like meditation, Cole, anyway. I'm way bigger of a fan than the MC Killer that you portray on certain records. I'm more of a fan of deep thinking meditation, Cole, personally. But now more than ever, I really don't want to hear it. So those are my thoughts on this track. Outside of the positives I could give it, it's just really hard to not listen to this song and get frustrated. Like, you're on your path. Be that guy. But like, I don't want to hear about Cole and his beef anymore. I don't want to hear about what could have happened if you stayed in the battle or blame the fans about wanting blood and all this other stuff. You got it out of your system on the Dreamville stage. Just leave it there. Leave it there. But I will be looking forward to the fall off. I don't know when I'm going to be back to doing 1430. Right now, I'm just still on my hiatus. But make sure you stay locked in on the channel because I will let you know as soon as it's time. But until next time, much love.